Today is all about thinking about college, where to go, how to get there. So we're gonna discuss the sorts of things you ought to be thinking about and when you ought to start thinking about them. You heard Mayor Bentley this morning, you heard Ms. Bragg. According to Georgetown University's Center on Education and the Workforce in 2009, 62% of jobs by 2018 are going to require a college degree. And over half of those are going to require at least a bachelor's degree. That's astounding. Look at one half of this room plus a few more. Everybody on this side of the room will need a college education to be able to get a job just what, 5 years from now? That's pretty astounding. Complete College America. How many of you have heard of Complete College America? I know Ms. McCree has. And those of us in colleges and universities around the state are very aware of it. We realize here in the United States that there is a gap between the number of people who hold a college degree and the number of people that it's going to take to fulfill the jobs that will require a college degree. And to be perfectly honest with you, in the state of Georgia, that's a pretty large gap. You are sitting in the driver's seat, though, right now. You're in a pretty good spot. You are in a position to change that gap, and you can do it pretty quickly. So, Complete College America says that good family incomes and the health of state economies are going to depend on more of our young people succeeding in college. Sound like a pretty easy task, right? You just have to get there and get started. How many of you are sophomores, 10th graders? All right, show me the 11th graders. We got any 12th graders? Okay. Wow. You really are in the ideal spot at the ideal time. When should you start thinking about college? You are exactly right. Not this coming August, not sometime next winter, certainly not next spring. Now is the time. What I want to do is plot out the next 18 months or so. And 10th graders, you've got a little while to be looking at this, but this will give you a really good roadmap to make some decisions and to do the homework that will allow you to make an informed decision. How many of you have perhaps been with a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, or an uncle when they were purchasing a car? Okay. When they went in to purchase the car, they'd say, tell me what the price is, and let me just write you a check. Absolutely not. Perhaps there was a lot of research that was done ahead of time. What features does the car have? How safe is it? Can I afford it? Do I like the looks of it? Is it reliable transportation? And so by the time your family member arrived at a car dealership, part of the decision had been made. I like this car. Now, you tell me how much money you want for it, and I will tell you how much money I can afford to give you. So it was a very detailed process in coming to the decision to purchase that car. You can think about preparing for college in a similar way. You don't just walk in the door to a college and say, "Here I am, sign me up." There are some things that need to occur before that, and let's talk about what those things are. So, I want you to think about this as a timeline. We need to figure out what sort of things you need to be doing and when you need to do them. And then you need to be thinking about applying some deadlines to yourself and to these tasks so that you can complete these without getting yourself in a position that you go rushing into Ms. McCree and say, "I missed the application deadline." Ms. McCree's great, but colleges, many of them, are very, very serious about their application deadlines, and their response is likely to be, "I'm sorry." Okay, so here's what we need to be thinking about. Explore, pursue, decide, and commit. And I've laid these out on a calendar. And you'll notice that explore starts right now. So what sort of things should you be doing while you're exploring? Well, first, you need to decide what colleges you're interested in. Somebody tell me where you'd like to go to college.
Auburn, Erie,
Okay, so you've already given this thought. Now, let me ask you, how many of you have been to that college's website? What did you look at when you got to their website?
Admission.
Okay. All right, good point. You've looked at the fun stuff. Now it's time to get down to business. You need to be looking at their admission requirements. Do they require an SAT or an ACT? If they do, what is it? What minimum will they accept? How many of you have taken an SAT or an ACT? Okay. You've perhaps checked out the student organization within the institution. I want to let you in on a little secret. Maybe you're already aware of it. As General Boylan mentioned this morning, a college education is really about broadening your world, giving you an opportunity to understand and appreciate things that perhaps you had never been aware of before. But I also want you to know that while you are studying hard and learning things that are new and different to you, you also need to have fun. The right kind of fun. Colleges and universities put a lot of energy and a lot of effort into developing student organizations and supporting student organizations. Why in the world would they do that? To give you something to do? Well, certainly. But the reason is much deeper than that. To be perfectly honest with you, it's much more self-serving than that. We know in the college environment that if you are engaged in your college or university through a student organization, you are going to be more committed to your academic experience and you will do better academically. Sounds sort of contradictory, doesn't it? Get involved in a student organization so you can do well academically. The reason is, if you are involved in a student organization, you're interacting with other students within that institution. You're making lasting friendships. And I do mean lasting. As Mayor Bentley mentioned to you this morning, look to the person to your left, look at the person to your right. That individual may perhaps be your best friend today. And these are great friendships. But you will get to college and you will make friends that you will keep the remainder of your life. The person sitting next to you, you may perhaps run into at your 10-year high school reunion. You may cross paths somewhere in the local community. And it will be so nice to catch up and find out what's happening with the other person. Your college friends, you will keep forever. You will stay in contact. So those college friendships and that bond that you make with your institution through student activities is very, very important to you. And it will help ensure that you pursue to the point of graduation. As I mentioned earlier, you need to go and find out what kind of application deadlines each institution has. Do they require that you live on campus? Do they have a GPA requirement? What's your GPA requirement? Do you have work to do, or do you simply need to maintain where you are? All right, so you've got from now until August to do your homework. You 11th graders, you're just a few short months away from being high school seniors. Next year is going to move really, really fast. I know. It is a very exciting year, and you're going to be busy. That's why now is the right time to do the homework and do the digging. It can be maybe time-consuming. So between August and November, depending on application deadlines that you've been able to determine, you need to take the SAT or the ACT if you haven't done it already. Dates for the SAT, October 5th and November 2nd. ACT is being offered September 21st and October 26th. You need to start submitting your applications for admission. Don't wait until the end of November, though. From the homework you do between now and August, make sure you've submitted that application by the deadline. Most colleges now, or many I should say, now utilize an electronic application. So you simply log into their website and submit your application electronically. Makes it pretty easy to do. You don't have to write to the college or call the college and say, hey, can you send me an application? I'll fill it out and return it to you in just a couple of days. In a matter of seconds, you can have your application submitted to the college that you want to attend. Schedule a campus visit. I can't stress that one task enough. That is so very important. We're going to give you some literature when you leave here today. Kevin, will you hand me one of the packets? We, like every other college in the world, spend a lot of money developing some really pretty brochures. We take great photographs, and then we place them very carefully to make sure that this is very eye-appealing and that it gives you good information. But perhaps even just in your short time here today, you've already realized that as good as the photographs are in this document, it's not exactly like being here on campus. So going and visiting the school that you're interested in is going to give you the opportunity to get a feel for the campus very, very quickly. I'll let you in on another secret as well. When you go for your visit, you'll know very, very quickly whether that's the right place for you or not. It'll be pretty obvious. So, take the time, go for that visit. Do you have college visitation days that you can use? Certainly. Take advantage of that. If you can use a college visitation day and go during the week, that is the best time to go, because you're going to see what a typical day in the life of the institution is like. Where do the students gather between classes? Where do they go when they need to use a computer? What does the classroom look like? Is it like the classrooms here at GMC, where you're one of about 20 students? Or is it a classroom where you're going to be one of about 300 students? Be very honest with yourself as you go and tour the campus, and recognize whether you can be somewhat anonymous in a classroom of 300. You're okay with being 20 rows away from the professor? Or are you the type of person that needs to be able to say, wait, Dr. Smith, I didn't understand that. Would you mind going through that one more time? I personally was the second type. I needed to be able to say, I don't understand, do that one more time. You need to start thinking about scholarship opportunities. Now, when I was your age, I thought, okay, only the super smart brainiacs get scholarship dollars. I was wrong. are involved in some student activity at school. What kind of activities are you involved in? 4-H? Okay, somebody else. Okay.
Soccer.
Some of you may be athletes.
Dave? That's the beauty.
Some of you may be athletes. Some of you may be musicians. Some of you may be aspiring actors. You may be surprised to find out that a particular college or university will offer scholarship dollars to students with those particular talents. Ask the question. If you play a mean trombone and you want to participate in the college's band, ask, are there scholarships available for band members? You might have to audition for a scholarship, but that's okay. Find out what the scholarship requirements are. They require a certain grade point average. You may be a very strong academic student and can qualify for an academic scholarship. Don't dismiss academic scholarships, because even if it's partial scholarship funding, you may be pleasantly surprised to learn what the SAT and the ACT GPA requirements are for some of the academic scholarships. All right, so by November, December of next year, you need to have narrowed your choices down to a couple of schools. You need to have figured out, where am I going to thrive? Where can I really, really enjoy myself and succeed? Again, concentrating your efforts on those two schools. And what I would recommend you do, everybody has a dream college. Okay, the college that you think is the best of all around. Go ahead and apply to your dream college if you know that you're going to meet admission requirements. But also apply to Plan B. You need a Plan B. That's your second choice. If your dream college says, no, we're full, Plan B, your Plan B college, will be a place where you can be equally as happy and where you can thrive. Make sure that you have submitted everything that's necessary for your admission file and for your scholarship file if you're applying for scholarships. Do you need to submit letters of recommendation? Have you had your high school transcripts sent? Have you had your SAT or ACT scores sent? Most colleges who have firm deadlines, yes, they say we want your application by such and such a date. What that really means is we need your application, your high school transcript, your letters of recommendation, your SAT and your ACT scores. You need to have all of those things at the institution by that deadline. If you need to submit letters of recommendation, think carefully about who you will ask to submit your letter of recommendation. And don't expect that you're going to be able to read the letter of recommendation once it's written. Many instances, those letters of recommendation are submitted to the institution in a sealed envelope. So you don't know if Ms. McCree or your math teacher or your history teacher has said, Johnny is a great individual, a hard worker, he always completes his assignments on time, he will be a great addition to your institution. But ask someone to write letters of recommendation who actually knows you, who can say, yes, he works really, really hard. He has excelled in our school. We are excited for what the future holds for him. Rather than someone who would say, well, Johnny was in my history class and he did fine and good luck. A real important point on this slide. What would you consider to be the most important point on this slide? What does FAFSA mean? You've got the important point. FAFSA means the free application for federal student aid. Okay? As soon as income tax returns are available for the 2013 year, you need to apply and submit FAFSA. This application can result in some free money to go to college on. It may open up an opportunity for some grants or loans. But this is the starting point. Now, federal financial aid has become a very, very important part of students financing their college education. You may be aware that colleges and universities are being scrutinized very closely for the type of debt that their students leave with after graduation. You know, did you have to borrow $10,000 to complete your senior year of college? Depending on where you want to go, that may not be unrealistic. How much does it cost to go to college? Okay. I heard a couple of you earlier mention schools that you were interested in that are not in the state of Georgia. Say that again. Out-of-state tuition, what is that? Why is that a big deal? All right. Exactly. So, here in the state of Georgia, if you are attending a state school, the state of Georgia, through taxpayer revenues, are actually covering a large portion of the cost of educating you in that institution. You don't realize that, but that's what's happening. Consequently, you are only, through your tuition and fees, you are only covering about 25% of that cost. So, let's say your ideal school is the University of Nebraska, University of Iowa, wherever it may be, outside the state of Georgia. They've got the program you love, they've got student activities that you just absolutely can't wait to get involved in. You love their dormitories, their students are great, on and on and on. You're committed. And then the admissions counselor says, okay, and I'm just going to make numbers up here. It costs $10,000 a year for a resident of the state of Nebraska to go to school here. But you're a resident of the state of Georgia, so it's going to cost you $40,000 per year. It can be that dramatic a difference. Okay? So think carefully about applying to out-of-state schools and make sure you understand what the out-of-state tuition cost will be. Georgia Military College is rather unique in that as a public independent college, we don't charge an out-of-state tuition. We offer a flat tuition rate here. So whether you're a resident of Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, you pay the same amount. Be sure to ask that question. Get your FAFSA submitted. Do it as quickly as you can so that you are providing the financial aid office at that college adequate time to process your paperwork and to notify you of the financial aid for which you're going to qualify. You may have to submit additional documentation through this financial aid process. It's not unusual. You're probably going to, not probably, you will need to utilize your parents' income tax returns when you are applying for FAFSA. How many of you have part-time jobs? Okay. Your income is also going to be taken into account. So be very, very attentive to that. If you're applying to a college that requires on-campus housing, go ahead and make application for that. Sometimes there is a separate housing application that you need to submit. And then by next March, you need to make a commitment. Yes, I'm going to go to the University of XYZ. Okay? Find out what kind of special events they've got coming up for you incoming students. A lot of colleges will have, a day that they may call a spring fest or a new student welcome. It will simply be an opportunity for you to, again, visit the campus, interact with students, interact with faculty and staff. Take advantage of that. You may be required to submit deposits, such as a housing deposit if you're going to live in the dormitory. Depending on the school, you may be required to submit an enrollment deposit. Find out if they're refundable. Under what circumstances are they refundable? After you've applied for housing and roommates are announced, start talking to your roommate on Facebook, email, Twitter, however it may be. Begin to get to know that person. And be sure you find out about orientation programs that will be offered over the summer. That is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Registration day at any college, any university, is a hectic day. I need to change my schedule. I don't want history at 8 o'clock, I want it at 10 o'clock. I can't take this math class this quarter, I need to wait to take it next quarter. I've got to have another class as a prerequisite. I got signed up for calculus and I haven't had pre-calculus yet. By taking advantage of the summer orientation program, you are going to be able to register for your upcoming fall semester or quarter classes way ahead of the rush. Do that and eliminate a lot of aggravation and hassle in your life. Don't forget to ask, after you graduated, don't forget to ask to have your final transcript showing your date of graduation sent to your college. You would have sent one sometime back in October or November. But we need to see that final transcript that shows you graduated from high school. Does your college require any sort of placement testing? Be sure you complete that and do it before you go for your scheduled orientation. So, you'll have a lot of things going on next year. Senior prom. You're going to be involved in maybe athletic programs. You've got other service organizations you're involved in. You've got Thanksgiving holidays. You've got fall break. You've got Christmas holidays. You've got spring break. There are going to be a lot of things that occur in the coming year as seniors that can very quickly fill your days, your weeks, your months. If you will follow this timeline and commit to it, then you should be able to complete your college application process and your admission process without feeling the anxiety that many students do when they go rushing into the counselor's office on April the 15th of their senior year saying, I need to apply to college somewhere. Does that ever happen, Ms. McCree? Ms. McCree would like for you to follow a timeline.
By December is my day.
Absolutely. So, please take advantage of the opportunities that lay ahead of you. Again, you are our future. If our economy is going to require that 62% of the available jobs be filled with individuals with college degrees, you are the people that are going to do it. It's not my generation, it's yours. So, my best wishes to you to have a fabulous senior and junior year next year. Do your homework. Oh, and by the way, through all of this process, don't forget you're still a high school student. You've still got tests to take next year. You've got homework to do. Follow through with those things and walk away from high school having had a fabulous time and ready to start the next phase of your life. Okay, we've got just a few minutes. Are there any questions?